So a member of my team had a conversation with a prospect who was expressing her concerns when it came to doing any type of outreach, right? Cold outreach. And what's interesting is I see this mindset come up a lot when it comes to entrepreneurs and even people in the closing space, where they have these limiting beliefs that direct outreach and cold outreach doesn't work. And today I want to talk about the truth about direct outreach, the truth about cold outreach, and why people perceive it this way, right? Or people who have posts online like this one saying things like, cold email doesn't work. And I've never landed a client using it before, right? And no more cold emails. There's a better way. Don't use silly systems that don't work, right? And I get it, right? Throwing rocks out there in the marketplace and letting people know there's an easier way of doing things, right? But the fact of the matter is, cold outreach has been the fundamental thing since forever when it comes to entrepreneurship, and people just are always trying to find an easier way of doing it instead of just being effective. Okay. Now, that's silly to say that cold outreach doesn't work, right? We cold outreach is literally the primary factor of growth for all of my clients. Cold emailing, cold calling, all the fun shebang. But here's the truth of the matter when it comes to this, because it's a very interesting topic. Okay, and I want to explain something, because this has even happened for me when I was closing for multiple 7 and 8 figure influencers, right? They would always say, well, I just, my concern is if we send out, cold SMSs and we send out too many emails and stuff, what if they're going to think that we're quote unquote spamming them, right? That's what always comes up. Let's be honest. That's everyone's biggest fear, is if you're doing pure volume, that you're going to be afraid someone's going to perceive it as spam, right? They're going to come back, they're going to respond to you, and they're going to be pissed. Do we get people who respond to cold emails that are pissed? Yes. Do we get people who respond to cold text messages? Yes. We're putting out so much volume. You have to understand, when it comes to business, if it's a numbers game, right? It's not only a numbers game for someone's going to say yes, but it's going to be a numbers game for people who are going to respond negatively, right? Just as much if you were in the restaurant industry and you were to go to someone and say, hey, would you like a free, cup of coffee, right? Some people are just going to say no that are not coffee drinkers. It is inevitable. People will say yes, people will say no. You're always going to have, through taking action, which is what most people are afraid to do, let's be honest, a percentage of people who do not respond well to it. But how do you get over this belief? There's one thing that you have to understand, okay? If I had a medical breakthrough, okay, a medical breakthrough when it comes to finding the cure for cancer, right? Let's say I found the ingredients and I put together this amazing concoction that's healthy and no one ever has to go to chemo ever again, right? But I'm a nobody, right? I have to get the word out there, and I don't know how to do it, right? No marketing, no nothing, and I had to go and do outreach. And if I were to go pick up the phone or send out emails and send out texts and find lists of people who I know are struggling with cancer, and it's like, gosh, if I could just get them to take this, and I can save them from the pain, save them from the misery, turn the life around, and get them off of this horrible chemo treatment, right? Now, if I'm sitting here picking up the phone, and I'm talking to a lady in her 60s, and I'm just like, hey, I know that you're struggling right now and suffering that you have cancer, but listen, I have this product that I had a medical breakthrough. Like I would love for you to try it. Like you have to try it out, right? And she's just like, hey, leave me alone. Don't call me again. Click. Right? What do you think that I would do next? Would I just give up and fail the lady and be like, okay, I get it. I just called her out of the blue. No, of course not. If I know that my product's going to be able to go and help her and save her life, I'm not going to give a crap what they say or anyone says, right? I'm going to keep going and going and going and going and call her the next day. Be like, listen, I know you hung up on me yesterday. You can add me to the no block list. If I have to show up there in person to the hospital, to show you that this works and that this exists, or whatever I have to do to be able to help you, like, I'm going to, right? And the reason why I use this as an example, obviously this is an extreme example, but the moral of the story that most people have to understand is the reason why people think cold outreach doesn't work, and the reason why they think that they're spamming people, is because they do not believe in their product and service. They do not believe that their product and service will actually go and get somebody results. Period. Right? If you believe in your product and service, you will not care about the reaction of the individual and what they think and what they say. It's irrelevant. Who cares? Right? So if you believe that you can help someone get results, therefore it is your obligation to help somebody who is qualified to be able to get those results. right? That is the key in the fact of the matter whenever it comes to doing this. So if you're watching this and if you've ever had that thought process, or you're on someone's team and maybe you're working for another entrepreneur or a business and entrepreneurship, and they're saying things like, well, hey, don't be too heavy. We don't want to spam people. Like literally ask the business owner and say, hey, if someone is qualified and they're at this level, do you know without a shadow of a doubt that you can help them achieve the results that you are promising? If the answer is yes, therefore, who cares what people think whenever it comes to being spammy or whatever and hurting? And another thing that people say is like, oh, well, I don't want to hurt my reputation. Reputation for what? Helping people? Helping people? Because here's the fact of the matter. Even in our case for doing cold outreach, what's funny? The people who are like not qualified, aka even people who are like dead broke, it's hilarious. The only people who are being out there negative when it comes to cold outreach and cold calling and cold emails and cold text messaging, the ones, you don't know, the ones who are complaining about it, the ones who like aren't actual entrepreneurs and business owners making money. That's what's so funny. It's like their negative response is they automatically DQ themselves. That's what's so freaking amazing about doing cold outreach is when you get a negative response, you already know, great. Thank you for saying that you're not even qualified, that you're not a serious business owner or entrepreneur in the first place. That's number one. And number two, guess who we get positive responses from? Because I told you, it's a numbers game on both sides. Legit business owners. People will actually respond back to cold outreach and see the follow-up. They'll ignore it in the first place. And then later they'll get message 4, message 5. And they're like, holy cow, these people are literally, they're not giving up. They're being relentless. They're still doing outreach. I want this for my business, right? People who are high level and qualified and high achievers when it comes to actual business and entrepreneurship and actual sales, right? Don't let that be a deterrent. They see the value in it and say, man, I believe in my product and service so much that I would love to be able to do this for my company. How would I go about that? Right? It's a different perception when it comes to mindset. Now, of course, there's other ways when it comes to marketing, getting business, right? Paid acquisition, organic. Yes, you should build a brand. Yes, you should use social media. And yes, but just cold outreach stuff is just another channel that you get to use outside because it's just a cheaper cost of acquiring a client. Right? Literally, it costs nothing to send out text messages and cold emails and all that fun stuff. Just because people think that it doesn't work does not mean that it doesn't work, right? It just means that most people just suck at cold outreach, and that's okay. That's a skill that most people will be able to improve over time, right? But to have the belief that it's going to have a bad reputation, or to have the belief that people just aren't going to like it and think they're being spammy is not true. That just means that you're attracting the wrong people and you're going about it the incorrect way. There's always a right and a wrong way to go about things. You don't have to do cold outreach and just be pitchy and spammy, right? Quote unquote spammy, right? And saying, oh, well, hey, what if I could increase your revenue through 300% in the next 6 months? Right? Would you be interested in that? Like, no, of course, there's a better way when it comes to messaging of going about your approach when it comes to anything, whether it's cold DMs, cold email, cold text messages, cold calling. And what's interesting is the frame and the process of what you would say in message versus over the phone. Nothing changes. Nothing changes, right? So the moral of the story here is if you believe in your product, you will not care whether it's warm calling, outreach, ads, cold calling, cold DMs, right? If you believe in your product and service. If you do not believe in your product and service, then yes, you should not do any type of cold outreach and cold DMs if you are not confident that you can help give somebody results. Because the goal of doing this isn't just to make money, it is to be able to get people results. And that is the truth about cold outreach and direct outreach and cold calling and cold emails. If you believe in your product and service, you will not care about what people think, because you know that if you can get your product in the hands of as many people as possible that are qualified and are going to get results, you're going to change their perspective, and they're going to happily tell other people about it. And that referral network of getting results is going to way outbeat the negative perception of people who think that it's bad that you're doing outreach because they weren't going anywhere in business anyways, right? And that's okay, especially if you're more like B2B space, right? I promise you, people who are qualified in B2B are absolutely adding things like cold outreach, right? If you are watching this video and you think you're smarter than billion-dollar companies, newsflash, you're not. You're not. And every billion-dollar company has direct and cold outreach. Why do they keep still doing it? Because it works, period. regardless of what they think. So this mindset belief of it is bad, it will leave you a bad reputation, it doesn't work, is literally keeping you from the level of growth, at the cap, think billionaire status. That one mindset belief is what holds people back from even getting anywhere near close to that, because they let it weigh them down to not take action on any type of outreach. Because the fact of the matter is, you just don't believe in your product enough. And that's okay. Find a product that you believe in, find a team that you believe in, right? Up your skills to be able to go get results and build your belief that you can go and help people. And you'll be able to take action and actually solve the issue of cold outreach not working, and add it to your arsenal, because it is absolutely amazing. I hope that this perspective was valuable to you today. It was fresh on my mind because it's been coming up a lot on calls, even with prospects. So I figured, why not do a video, go ahead and express it. My name is Dylan Starr. Hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, especially if you're getting into things like cold calling, outbound, closing, B2B space, building sales teams, scaling systems. All that fun stuff is everything I do and everything I'm going to be covering on the channel. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video.